So putting brake pads and new rotors on the front. This is a 2016 Sonata, for those of you who did not watch the first part. Now when you put these new rotors on, you want to make sure that your rotor screws are lined up in the right spot. So now what we're going to do is put those rotor screws back in. Okay, so before you put the caliper bracket back on, you have your bracket here that your brake pads sit on. Most of the time they send you new brackets, but if they do not, you can very easily use a wire brush here, clean off your brackets, because you do want them clean. You will be greasing them later. So I'll go ahead and replace these, or if you don't have one, just clean your brackets up. Okay, another thing you want to do before you put this on is you're going to slide this pin out, and we've got brake and caliper grease. You're going to put a little bit on each of the pins right here, because you want to make sure it stays lubricated so it can freely move and it won't end up freezing up. Okay, so after you grease the pins here, you're good to put the caliper bracket back on, and the caliper bracket bolts are those two, and they're 17 mil. So now we're going to go ahead and tighten this down. Okay, so we got the caliper bracket back on. Now we're going to come to our brakes here, and remember the brake and caliper grease. So we're going to put a little bit of grease on the ends, the top and bottom of the brakes. We're going to do that to all of them. Now when you go to put this brake pad on, see how some of them have that little squealer tab right there? Like this one does not have one. So I was trained that the squealer needs to be on the top in the fronts, and in the rears they'll be on the bottom. So we're going to put them in just like that. Make sure it's facing the correct way, going with the rotor. Okay, so I get the top bolt started on the caliper, which remember is a 14 mil, and I just swing the caliper up because now we got to push this cylinder back in. And you can either use a ratchet like mine, or you can do like what I did for years. I would use the old brake pad, put the old brake pad against the cylinder, and then use a C-clamp, and you just spin it in and it pushes the cylinder in. But we're going to use it with the ratchet, make it a little easier. Okay, so we have that flush, and now we can go ahead and drop this down, and we'll go ahead and put our 14 mil bolt on there, tighten it up. Okay, then you put the wheel on with 21 mil socket. Now when you get in the car, turn the engine over, keep it in park, and pump your brake pedal until the brake pedal feels normal again. And then of course check your brake fluid. So super easy.